You're going up. You're going home with me tonight. Let me hold you. Don't caress my body. You got me going crazy. You turn me on, turn me on. Let me Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Saturday morning training for new distributors. My name is Fred Holmes. I'm an independent distributor with Zeege International. It's my privilege to be your host this morning for this training. And we're starting a couple of minutes, looks like 2 minutes behind the top of the hour. And I'll just be candid with you. I didn't want to turn off that jam. It just took me right back to my undisclosed island location. Looking forward to that getaway here in January. We're already booked and ready to go. And for those of you that were, I've had a couple of questions already about what's that mix. That is actually a playlist of mine. It's called Fred's Beach Reggae. So I'm all set to go, as you can tell. So welcome. Let's see what we got here. AJ, good to see you. And I had a couple of messages here. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, AJ. And let's see what else we got going on here. Of course, Kevin's with us this morning. Good morning from Shasta or Weed or someplace in Northern California. Becca, good to see you. Pat, good to see you. Wow, I'm going to have to do a really good job. The Pat Anderson is in the house. Let's see what we got here. Oh, wow, room's really filling up. Debbie, good to see you. Danielle, of course. And Crystal, good to see you. Well, I'm not going to be able to say hi to everybody, but excited for this morning. All right, we're going to go through our regular Saturday morning training, the foundational elements of what we do in our profession to build a true long-term residual income. And welcome to new distributor John Slingsby. Hey, John, welcome to you, sir. Well, we're going to be going through this. This is information that was imparted to me, oh geez, what were 32 years ago, something like that. Some of you know the story. I used to be a cross-country truck driver, and I'd done that for a number of years. And as a much younger man, my life changed when my oldest son hit school age. There were some educational issues there, and I found myself in a position where I needed to create a substantially above average income to provide the educational resources my son needed, but I also needed time freedom to be with him. That was going to be critical in creating, you know, an environment where my son could become everything that that the Creator intended him to be. And this profession of network marketing was the only place that a guy like me could create a six-figure income and have time freedom, flexibility in my day-to-day schedule. And probably the greatest advantage I had was what I'm going to share with you right now. I got some of the finest training that's ever existed in this profession. And this is a very timely time for us to be talking about this, because so many of you, and I'm looking through the list here, there's a number of you I don't recognize, which means that you're brand new distributors, or maybe you've decided that now is the time for you to get involved and get serious about your Zeege business. And I have to tell you, we're just coming off of the largest volume cycle in Zeege history. We just created the greatest number of checks. The company's been in business over 10 years now, but to find that this point in time, this exact moment in time, the company is on an exponential growth pace. We've got our upcoming convention here in a couple of weeks. We've got stunning new announcements about category creator products. I can't think of a time in the, what now I believe 9 years that I've been with Zeege, that it is better to be part of our company. And so what we're going to do over the next several minutes, and I encourage you to grab your journal, grab your journal, your notepad, whatever, take some notes. The key to success in our type of business isn't so much what you do, okay, but rather can you create an environment where many other people can do what you do, to create a system that is duplicatable by the masses. Our business has never been about one person who does spectacular things, but rather a large number of people doing a little. And so I'm going to start with the foundational elements of the new distributor training, and I'm going to encourage you to take some notes. You're going to want to be able to share this with others. I'm going to talk a little bit about the most important thing a brand new distributor can do today to create true long-term residual income. And I will also take some questions. I'll try and move very briskly here so we can take a couple of questions between now and the time that our time is up. If you have a question, put it in the chat box. There's also a Q&A button there. I'll see both of them. So let's go ahead and get started. The Saturday morning training for new distributors. It was designed, and this is how it was presented to me. If I do a little bit of this, I can make some money. If I do a little bit more for a little bit longer, I can make more money. And if I do a lot of this long enough, I could get rich. And see, that really defines the three types of people, if you will, that get involved in our business. There's the hobbyists, the people that just have fun, get a person on the product, attend a meeting, what have you. That's fine. Okay. That, the backbone of our Zija business are people that really are not here to create fortunes, but rather, make a little extra money. And for others, they're what we call the active part-time people that are focused on a daily method of operation to create a level of income that provides additional, freedom for them, financial independence, what have you. Then we have the drop dead serious business people that are looking to create, perhaps a six-figure income. Now, we talk about money in our business. It's simply a way to keep score, if you will. I will tell you this. The foundation of our profession, and this holds true for Zija International. If you can share a way for people to make something as simple as an extra $200 or maybe $300 a week, an extra $1,000 a month, that would change most families' lives in North America. An extra $1,000 a month. You don't have to be talking about making millions to attract people to our business. Imagine what would have happened last year if you had an extra $10,000 or $15,000 in your family's budget last year. Well, we can't do anything about last year, but we can set up 2018 so that you can have that. And this is the keys to doing it. The brand new distributor, the brand new person, they have two questions. First question is, what do we do? Second question, how do we do it? The new distributor training is designed to teach that and do it in a duplicatable process. So, in your notes, there are three things as independent distributors that we do. Number one, we share our products. Number two, we share our income opportunity. And number three, we teach others to do the same. That's it. Now, what's very interesting is you can use that to determine the effectiveness of what you're doing. If you are doing anything that isn't directly related to number one, sharing our products, number two, sharing our income opportunity, or number three, teaching people to do the same, then you're probably off track. Okay? So, what do? We share the products, we share the income opportunity, and we teach others to do the same. Now, the second question is, how do we do that? This is the fun part, okay? Because it is so simple. Matter of fact, it's deceptively simple. I oftentimes say that, it's a good news, bad news thing. Good news is we got a simple system. Bad news is it's a simple system. If you try to do something other than the system, you get a little bit too far left or right of center, it doesn't work very well. And the reason is it's not duplicatable. So We already know what we do. Now let's talk about how we do it. As far as the first step, sharing the product, here are the three things you want to do. Number one, use our products. Become a product of the product. Develop your own personal testimonial, your own personal story on the product. Number two, you're going to have to talk to people. Now, that may seem kind of silly, like, well, duh, got to talk to people. But sometimes people don't get this. Nobody's going to come up to you. Nobody's going to bang on your door on Saturday morning and say, hey, wake up in there. You guys got any Zija for me to buy? This is a people-to-people business. You are going to have to talk to people. Now, we have a system for doing that, and I'll be speaking to that in just a moment. But the second step is to talk to people. Number three, learn to share the stories of what happens to people that have gotten on the product. Share your story and the stories of others. That's as simple as it is. If you use our products, talk to people, and share the stories, you will be effective at being able to share our products and develop a customer base. And that's what we do. We develop customer bases. Now, under sharing the opportunity, here's the fun part. It's the same thing. How do we do that? Use the products. You cannot document the success of a business. I think it's Joel McNinch, one of the finest people in our profession. Joel McNinch said, you can't, how did he put it? You can't, oh geez, I just lost it. It was just there. You can't be talking about a great product if you look like a disaster, right? Use our products. Use all of our products all the time. Talk to people and share the stories. But in this case, the people you're talking to are people that are interested, who desire to have more from a financial perspective. And what you talk to them about has to involve sharing the stories of people's success in the business. This is going to make a lot of sense in a moment when I share a story with you that happened with me just yesterday. So we share the product, we share the opportunity. How do we do that? Use the products, talk to people, share the stories. Now, we're going to break it down a little bit because obviously there's a little bit more to it than what I just said. Under using the products, I'm going to suggest to you to use all of the products all the time. Now, let's be realistic. We have so many different products. So many, we got 4 different product divisions. We're adding a new one here in just a couple of weeks. It will be introduced at the convention. Some of you got advance notice of this if you've already been registered for the convention. In the beginning, with the first company I joined, they had several different products. And it wasn't possible for me to use all of the products all the time. So I started with as many of the products as I could. And then as my income increased, I added more products. Today in Zija, I'm using, well, not all the products. I mean, I don't use the AGX women's formula, okay? But I do use the AGX men's formula. And I'm going to tell you right now, I just came from my 45th high school reunion this past weekend, and dang, I'm going to tell you, there were a bunch of fat old people at that place, and everybody was saying, you look great. Well, of course I look great. I use Zija. I use all the products all the time. I use the AGX men's formula. I am today at the body weight that I was in my early mid-20s. Okay, and I'm going to tell you, there was nobody at that 45th reunion from high school that was anywhere near that. Me and there were actually 2 gals that had really done a good job of staying in good shape. But other than that, everybody else, it was just like it was very ugly. So I'm sorry, I got off track. But you want to use as many of the products as you can all the time, because you want to develop your own personal story. The products that you use will be the products that you sell. It's very simple. Now, we could take professional salespeople. We could teach them all of the ingredients. They know the specific sales techniques and closing techniques and so on and so forth. Here's the problem. If that's our system, teaching closing techniques and ingredients, we have limited our potential distributor base to less than 5% of the population, because less than 5% of the population either would like to be a professional salesperson or would be good at it. Network marketing is the business for the masses, because if you share the stories of what's happened to you on the products and the stories of others, that's the most effective way to get people interested in trying your products. And we've already learned this. If you get people on our products for 30 days, we're well over 80% customer retention, about 85% customer retention. If you keep people on the products for 90 days, we're approaching virtually 100% customer retention. Nobody has that. Nobody in the industry of any kind of products has that. I mean, realistically, 85% of the people that buy a Ford today aren't going to buy another Ford. That's just the way it is. That's a testament to the strength and the quality and the effectiveness of the Zija products. So use all the products all the time, or use as many as you can, as often as you can. Now, talking to people, here is the system, folks, and this is the part that's so important to understand. If you want to be successful in acquiring customers or recruiting new distributors, follow this system. Talking to people involves, number one, having people to talk to. So I encourage you to develop a list of contacts. A lot of people will, think of 5 or 6 or 8 people that they know. That's what the novice networker does. They may sit down and put together a list of a few people. I'm going to tell you that the professional network marketer uses tools, because tools can be used by everybody. There's a tool called a memory jogger. Many of you have one already, but you haven't learned how to effectively use it. If you don't have a memory jogger, it's a little paper and pencil tool. An effective memory jogger will have 200 different types of people that everybody knows. Okay, and you can dramatically expand your potential prospect list. Your active engaged upline will have a memory jogger for you. I have one that I particularly like to use. You can reach out to me. I'll send you mine if you don't have it. I go into more depth on how to develop a prospect list. You can go to my YouTube channel. I've got some training there on how to build a list. Go to www.youtube.com/Fred Holmes Zija. Fred Holmes Zija. And you'll see that there. So I have the ability to go into one more time there, but I'll share this with you. The key to developing a prospect list, use a tool. Okay, we've already learned that the average person, by the time you hit your late 20s, early 30s, everybody knows 200 or 300 people by name. Okay, these are close associations. When you put together that list, number one, do not prejudge. Do not prejudge whether the person would be interested in using your products, whether they would be interested in your income opportunity. Don't even prejudge whether they'd be interested in talking to you. That's not your job. As an independent distributor of Zija's products, developing an international business, my only responsibility is to share the stories. Those folks will have to decide whether or not the products are for them, whether the income opportunity is for them. My job is simply to offer them the opportunity to hear about it. So create a list. Let me cover a topic that I often get a question on. Well, I don't really want to talk to my friends or family. Frankly, I don't get that. What part of offering good health, wellness, vitality, or financial independence, what part of that wouldn't you want to give to the people that you care about, that you love? Okay, I don't get that. Well, I don't want to bug people. Good, don't. I don't. Okay, it's real simple. I was at this reunion I mentioned to you, and when somebody said I look great, I said thank you. I didn't say you could look this good too if you use my products. I did introduce one person to the product because of his wife's, disastrous health issues. His comment was, well, she really doesn't do stuff like that unless the doctor prescribes it. She's not interested. End of deal. Okay. I'm not going to bug anybody, but I am going to offer them. Okay. So you have to decide what's important to you. If you're using our products, you've had the experiences that so many of us have had. The longer you're on Moringa, the better you feel, the better you look. If you don't feel compelled to share this with other people, I have to question, how much do you really care about those people? But here's the reason why we always start with what we call the warm market, people we knew. No, it's real simple. Okay, our job is to share a story. Story of what happens when you get on our product. Story of what happens when you get involved in our business. That's all we do, is share the story. Now, people that we know, people who are familiar with us, they are more likely to be willing to take a moment or two to hear the story than a stranger. Imagine walking up to a stranger on the street. I've got a great story to share. Would you like to hear it? I mean, if you live in, small town America, they might be polite and say yes, but there's a lot of places people run away from you. They'll call the cops. Something's wrong with you, right? So we start with people we know because, very simply, they're more willing to take a minute to hear our story. Now, once you've developed that prospect list, the next step is to talk to people. And there's a system for doing that. There's 3 steps. You want to put this in your notes. The first step is the invitation. Invite people to hear your story. Now, it's important that you understand when you do that invitation, the invitation has to be meaningful to that person. Okay? It's never about what I want or what I'm interested in. It's what they're interested in. Okay? If it's somebody that's maybe struggling with excess weight, or they're feeling tired all the time, they'd like to, look better, feel better, what have you. Invite them to hear about the products that can help them. Okay? If somebody's saying, oh man, I just feel so tired, I didn't realize I was going to feel like this when I hit 40, hey, I found something that's helping a lot of people get back to that energy they had in their 20s. Is that something you'd be interested in hearing about? Okay, I invite people based upon their needs. That's one of the reasons we work with people we know. We're more likely to understand what it is they need. Now, invitation, that first step, that's what you do. Okay, that's your job. Second step is the presentation. If you invite people to learn more, then the natural thing is they're going to want to hear some information. Step 2, the presentation, that is not your job. You don't do that. You don't do the talking. Use a tool. Okay, we've got many tools. If you haven't subscribed to Zija International's official YouTube channel, you need to. Every day they're posting, short 8, 10, 12-minute video presentations on something related to our products. One member of the Scientific Medical Advisory Board is sharing information. It could be on skincare, it could be on effective weight loss, it could be on how to keep the kids from getting colds when they go to school, focus for the kids on their studies or what have you. There's so many resources out there. Use the tools to provide that. If you're talking to people about the income opportunity, use the tools to do that. We've got DVDs, online videos, local meetings, webinars, all kinds of presentations where you can have a tool present the information. So first thing is the invitation. That's what you do. Second step is the presentation. You don't do that. The tools do that. Third step is validation. Somebody besides you sharing the story. Somebody besides you validating or documenting that the products work or that the income opportunity works. It's important to understand that third step is critical. You can't be the person that does it. Okay, it's just real simple. Here's the challenge. If you try and do all 3 steps yourself, you do the invitation, you do the presentation, you do the validation, one of 2 things are going to happen, neither of which is going to be effective. Okay, number 1, you could be too good. Or number two, you could be too bad. All right, that's all the options you have. You'll either be too good or you'll be too bad. If you're too bad, you're not going to do an effective presentation. People are going to go, well, product doesn't make sense, the opportunity doesn't make sense, no thanks. Okay? Or you could be too good, meaning that you'll do a very effective presentation on the products or the opportunity, and people will say, you know what, sounds like it's a great opportunity, but I'll never be as good as Fred at telling the story. I'll never be as good as Pat or what have you. If there is a secret to my success, it is that I haven't done that. Okay? Today, when I talk to somebody about the opportunity, quite frankly, my story is not very effective. Some of you know my story. I mean, it's you know, it's almost embarrassing. It's not embarrassing. I'm proud of what's happened here, but I've made millions with this company. I mean, I was already $1 million income earner before Zija. The reason why I did so well in the beginning of Zija is I knew what to do, and what I knew was I only did the first step, the invitation. What I did in the beginning is I invited people to look at my income opportunity. I put them on the phone with, I three-wayed them into a little, back then when the only tool we had was a little cheesy 5-minute introduction on Zija, recorded phone call. And then I immediately following that, put them on the phone with my sponsor, David Moses, let him do the story. And I didn't do anything. I just did those 3 steps, and I was able to get off to a fast start. Literally 2 weeks, recouped all of my initial investment in my diamond pack and went into profitability. Why did I was able to do that? Because I know the system. And what I was able to do was teach the system by the process of doing my recruiting. So 3 steps to talking to people: invitation, that's what you do; presentation, that's what the tools do; validation, that's what your upline does. That's all there is. Now understand the law of averages. Okay, the law of averages typically is 1 in 10. In any kind of sales, process, it's 1 in 10. Now, if you only talk to 3 people, what are the chances that one of those 3 people is going to be the person you're looking for? Pretty slim. Okay, what I did in the beginning, and maybe this is a little bit of a guide for you, I put together my prospect list. Okay, and typically I forget what the original first list was, but it was probably about 150 people as I went through it, on the first go through. Now, what I did is I cherry picked 12 people that I was going to talk to about the product the first week. And then I cherry picked out of that list 12 people I was going to talk to about my income opportunity. So I had 2 groups of people. One I was going to share the product with, one I was going to share the opportunity with. Now, out of that first group of 12 potential customers, 6 of them bought the product first week. What that did for me is a couple of things. It allowed me to make some money, of course. It helped me document that people will buy the product, and it gave me half a dozen new stories to share with others. Now, the second list of potential distributors, that was a cherry-picked list as well. Okay, when I say cherry-picked, I selected people that I thought would be the types of people that would do well in our business. Now, what are those characteristics? Real simple: willing to work, willing to learn, and desire to succeed. See, lazy people don't do well in anything except maybe, working for the government or something. I don't know. I didn't mean that if you work for the government. I'm sure there's a lot of good government workers, right? I always have a problem with a position where you don't make money, you use money, okay? And it's not your money, but I'm getting off track again. I picked people that had good work ethics. I picked people that had desire. And I looked for people that had already demonstrated that they, can be successful. They've moved to the higher levels of what they do in their given job, profession, whatever. Now, when I first started in this profession as a cross-country truck driver, I had long hair. I was, a younger man than I am today. I was not the picture of the successful, $1 million earner in network marketing, but I was exactly who you were looking for. As a cross-country truck driver, truck drivers are a dime a dozen, but good ones are worth their weight in gold. I used to run a sleeper team run by myself. That's the sleeper team. That's 2 guys running the truck around the clock. One drives, one sleeps. I did that by myself. I'm a hard worker, okay? I've got incredibly strong work ethics. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So that category I had. Now, coachable. I was extremely coachable in the beginning because I knew I didn't know how to do this. I also knew my sponsor in that first company. My very first sponsor was $1 million earner in network marketing. And so here's what I figured out. Number one, he had what I wanted. Number two, he wasn't going to make any money from me unless he taught me everything he knew. That was key. And so I was very coachable. I never asked, why are we doing this? I never said, wouldn't this be better if we did it this way? All I wanted to know was, what do I do now? What do I do next? What do I do after that? Just tell me what to do. I'll go do it. I had good work ethics. I was coachable, and my burning desire to succeed was stronger than any obstacle or challenge. There was nothing that I was unwilling to do to provide for a future for my son. So those are the characteristics you look for. Now, the foundation of our business is having a very simple system. If it's a system you can, if you can put the entire system on one page, that's a simple system. All successful businesses are systems dependent. Small businesses will be people dependent. Do you want your business to be large and successful? Don't make yourself the issue. Make the system the issue. And this is, here's your 30-second system. What do? We share the product, we share the opportunity, and we teach others to do the same. How do we do it? We use the products, we talk to people, and we share the stories. Stories of our story and the stories of others. And when we talk to people, we do invitation. That's what our job is. The presentation, that's what the tools do. The validation, that's what the upline does. That's it. That's it in the 30-second version. Now, 2 more points I want to make for you that'll be very helpful. This was also introduced to me in the my very first Saturday morning new distributor training. And then I want to talk a little bit about how to create your story. First thing I want you to write in your notes is concepts versus techniques. Concepts versus techniques. Now, concepts, that's what I've been teaching right now. Concepts. Concepts will remain constant. True concepts will remain constant over time. Now, the techniques will vary. They'll vary, over time based on technology, personality, geographical location, what have you, the economy, what have you. But the concepts will remain constant over time. So I really stick very closely to teaching concepts. What everybody wants to know is the techniques. Techniques are, where do I go? What do I say? Who do I talk to? What do I do? Here's a problem with techniques. They're not duplicatable by the masses. Again, if there's a secret to my success, is my business has been based on concepts that are so generic that the average person can learn them, the average person can do them, and the average person can teach others. Now, techniques, here's the problem with techniques. They're not duplicatable by the masses. For instance, my business is a home-based business, and it is literally a home-based business. Some of you know, when I first started with Zija, I'd recently moved back to the family home to care for my elderly mother. I've never been able to do a lot of traveling, and especially this past year, it's basically eliminated all of my traveling. Okay, today my mother requires attention round the clock. So I do very little outside of the home. My going to the Zija convention here in a couple of weeks, that is a major, major deal to put that together to cover staffing and attention for mom. Now, that works for me, but I don't teach that as the only way to do it. There's other people that love doing things like going out and doing home parties or meeting people at Starbucks or, social media. what have you. There are many different ways to do this. Teach the concepts because they are applicable to all of the techniques. Don't get too focused on techniques. Now, someone say, well, don't we use techniques? Of course, I have techniques that I use. Pat Anderson has techniques that she uses. Amy McKenzie has techniques. Debbie Ballmert has techniques that she uses. Kevin, everybody has their own little set of skills that they use. But if you want to build a large organization, self-duplicating organization, don't focus on techniques, focus on concepts. Now, let me share one more thing with you, and then I'll move on. This is something that was taught to me that very first Saturday morning in my very first company, my first Saturday morning new distributor training. It has helped me so much, both in terms of business and just, in life in general. All right. Write this in your notes. 90% opinion, 10% fact. See, everybody is an expert on everything. Okay. For instance, we all eat, right? Everybody eats. So therefore, everybody's an expert on nutrition. The problem is their knowledge is 90% their opinion, 10% fact. You have to understand that no matter, and this is for, addressing objections or concerns or what have you. Okay. If you understand that most people's knowledge is 90% their opinion and 10% fact, understand that trying to convince them against their mind with facts isn't going to work because their knowledge is based 90% upon their opinion. So for instance, let's talk about our products, okay? You're sharing our products with people. Somebody might say, if you eat healthy, you don't need to take, supplements. If you eat healthy, you don't need to take supplements. 90% opinion, 10% fact. Now, you can spend a day talking to them about how the nutrient content of our foods today has been degraded over the years, and the absorption of standard vitamins is 10 to 50%. You do all that all you want, and you're going to talk to a brick wall because 90% of their knowledge is their opinion. So here's how you respond to that objection. If you eat healthy, you don't need supplements. Write this in your notes. I don't know about that. All I know is share a story. Okay. I don't know about that. All I know is I've been using Zeja's products before I was taking, $300 a month worth of really great supplements, and I didn't feel any better. But now I just use Zeja, save a ton of money, and I feel great. Okay. If you cut down on your portions, you won't be fat. Well, I don't know about that. All I know is I've been using Zeja products. I've lost over 35 pounds since I started on Zeja products. I don't know about that, but I got a friend, Dave Albini, up in the San Francisco Bay Area. He's lost over 400 pounds. I don't know about that. All I know is a story. And see, folks, the testimonials, yours and others, whether it be on the products or on the income opportunity, that's the most effective way to move people from where they are to wanting to be involved with you, whether it's from a product perspective or a income perspective. Here's a different one. Multi-level, that's a scam. Nobody makes any money doing that. Well, I don't know about that. All I know is I'm working with Amy McKenzie. She was a single mom. She's been able to put her daughter through the most expensive college in the country, and she drives a Mercedes. I don't know about that. All I know is I'm working with Dee Dee Shaw. She's a stay-at-home single mom, created a full-time six-figure income, staying at home, homeschooling her children. Okay. Anything you have. I mean, I've used that, with my children. I don't know about that. All I know is if you don't do it, you ain't going out tonight. So anyway, 90% opinion, 10% fact. Now, I want you to be composing some questions here because I will get to some questions in just a moment, but I want to cover this real quick because, see, this is very interesting. I had two conversations this week. One was a brand new distributor. Now, fortunately, this brand new distributor, her sponsor, while she is brand new, okay, this was actually she was her sponsor's first enrollee. Her sponsor, while she's brand new, has been extremely coachable, following the system. Kudos to Amy McKenzie, because she's the active upline, leader. This new gal, she was on a an introduction call, a Zoom meeting where we got a chance to meet each other, and I shared my story and learned a little about her and offered my support. And she said, I asked her, what can I help you with? And she said, well, if there was one single thing that you could say to me that would help me achieve my goals, what would it be? And that was a great question. And I had clarified, this is what she said. She wanted to be a top income earner in Zija International, and she said a 4-year timeline. Within 4 years, she wanted to be a top income earner. Well, here's the good news, okay? Well, anybody can be a top earner, okay? And I'm not going to name names now, but you look at some of the people that are diamonds in our company, 6-figure income earners. I mean, dang, this is the only place in the world that they could make that. Me. I mean, this is the only place in the world I could make the kind of money I'm making. All right. It's just a matter of doing enough, long enough, staying consistent for a prolonged period of time. So she gave it a good enough timeline, 48 months. And she had already indicated she wanted to be a top income earner, because what's the most important thing a person can do to achieve their goals is highly dependent upon what the goal is. But she'd established that. So she asked me, what would be the one thing that you could suggest I do, the most important thing? And this was it, and you should put it in your notes. Create your fast start story. Create the story. See, that's all we do is share the stories, ours and others. And this was the advantage I had when I started in Zija some 9 years ago. I think beginning of this upcoming year will be my 10th year anniversary. And a lot of people think I've done well because, I've been in the industry in the past. I brought over my organization, 10,000 people. None of that happened, okay? I'd been out of the industry for a number of years. I'd retired, wasn't going to get back involved in network marketing unless I could find Zija, okay? This was what I was looking for. Now, what was my real advantage the day I started with Zija? I'd already done it before. Zija is my third successful multi-level venture. And so day one, I knew exactly what I needed to do. And the most important thing at that point in time, day one, first hour of my Zija business, was to create my personal fast start story. And here's why. If I could create a fast start story, then I could document that there's a system, the system works, and I can teach you. My fast start story would be the story that would follow me the rest of my Zija career. Quite frankly, today, my story is, essentially it's unbelievable, okay? Let me tell you who doesn't believe this story, me, okay? It's hard for me to realize what has happened in my Zija business. I honestly wake up every morning, pinch myself to make sure I'm not dreaming, okay? Nobody cares how much money I make today, unless I'm giving it to them. What they really want to know is, what did I do my first day, my first week, my first month? That's what they want to know. So that's why I built my story, and that was my big advantage. And I just shared a little bit with you. I started with 2 lists, and my entire focus was to create the story that was going to follow me the rest of my Zija career. On my YouTube channel, I have a series of little training videos. Look for them, how to create the list, how to share the story, the 90-day game plan. These are all the kinds of things that I did specifically. I'll go into more depth on those little trainings. Go check them out. But my focus was to have a story that was worth telling. I just shared with you, I started with 12 names of people I was going to share my product with. 6, very first week, became customers. Folks, I set that up. It was by design. Several of those original 12 prospects were people who were going to buy the product from me no matter what. If just to help me out. I call them the sympathy sales. Same thing with the other list. I cherry picked the people, meaning I found people, I put people down on that initial contact list that I figured would join, in some cases, in case I made money. They didn't know if I was going to make money or not. They just did it in case. You know, obviously one of the criteria was they had to have a credit card. How can you start a business if they shut off the electricity to your house because you got no money? Okay, and too often people go after their poor, broke friends to build a Zija business with, and honestly, if you know, if your friend hasn't been able to hold a job for more than a year their entire life, that probably has more to do with them than the opportunities they've had. I looked for the kinds of people that I wanted in my business, not that I looked for the people that wanted what my business could offer, not needed what my business offered. So the number one thing that you can do, build your fast start story. Not only is it the story that'll follow you the rest of your Zija career, it's the story that you're going to use to help your new distributors. Because as you start building new team members, you want to be third-party validation. And make no mistake about it, the best story in the house isn't mine. The best story in the house isn't Pat Anderson's or, you know, Amy McKenzie's or Dee Dee Shaw's story. Okay, let me tell you what the best story in the house is. I got started. I bought the, you know, XYZ kit, followed the simple system, and in my first week, I made $118.37. That's incredible. Now, is $118.37 a phenomenal amount of income? Yeah, it is when it's $118.37 more than your prospect made extra this week. And it documents that the business works. That's the best story in the house. Now, a couple of quick things I want to do for you on how to get off to a fast start. All right, real simple. And did I already lose it? Here we go. Okay, I'm going to give you a little checklist. Ready? Here we go. Right fast. Number one, create a list. Number two, cherry pick from that list your top 10 to 15 potential customers and potential distributors. Key point here, 2 lists, one for customers, one for distributors. If you're going to share the product with somebody, share the product. Okay, use tools that share the product. Don't be talking about the business. If your prospect's on the business candidate list, then share tools to talk about the business. This is critically important. You got to be congruent with your conversation. Give you an example. If you talk to somebody about an incredible company going exponential, going to double in size in the next 12 to 18 months, going to become $1 billion a year company, you know, people making, you know, tons of money, and the tool you send is the Moringa video, it's a complete disconnect. Okay, I do not send product focused information to somebody that's I'm talking to about the business unless that's what they need to hear. And that isn't going to happen until after I've done the third-party validation. Develop your top 10 to 15 people, 2 separate lists, customers, distributors. Select a few tools, have them ready to go, and then engage. Do a daily method of operation. Okay, I have back on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Fred Holmes Zija. There are videos there that talk about how to develop a daily method of operation. Be consistent. If you can put in 30 minutes a day to your business, do it every day. That is actually more productive than to try to put in 3 or 4 hours on Saturday. 30 minutes a day, every day, is better than 3 or 4 hours on Saturday. Number 5, Work with your upline that has experience in a story. This is critical. Even if you are good at this, even if you're me, follow my lead. Day one in Zija, I did not do it. I followed the system. I relied on my upline to share the story, answer the questions, move people forward. Okay? Work with your upline. Number 6, last deal, last item. Be consistent. Daily method of operation. Focus on a 90-day game plan. Right now, we are just past 90 days left in 2017. This is the time of the year that I am the most active because I've already done this before. I understand the ebbs and flows of the multi-level calendar. We're at a point in time in a couple of weeks, people are going to be focused on Halloween, and that blows me away that it takes, 3 or 4 weeks to prepare for Halloween. But people are going to be focused on Halloween, and then it's going to be Thanksgiving, and then it's going to be Christmas. And the masses tend to go to sleep over the next 90 days. I have always focused on this 90 days as being the time that I am the most active because it sets up the beginning of the year. Make no mistake about it. If you're more active today, more consistent over the next 90 days, then you will walk into the beginning of 2018 with incredible momentum in your organization. You will set up all of your 2018 income, and it'll be done in the next 10 to 12 weeks of this year. So with that, I hope you found this to be helpful. I'll hold for a moment. If there are any questions that I can help with, put them into the little chat window or the little Q&A window. I'll wait, I'll give the balance of time here for questions. I will share this with you folks. I've had the opportunity to be involved in 3 different companies in my tenure in multi-level. This last company, Zija International, in a very short period of time, I have eclipsed my previous income that allowed me to retire, after 10 years in the industry. That being said, the greatest growth, the greatest income potential of Zija International distributors lies ahead of us. That is why I am more excited today than I ever been in the 9 years. And it's not just me, folks. You start talking to any of the leaders that have been around for a while, and they will tell you the same thing. The toughest time in Zija was the beginning. And we have gone through that first little mini wave of growth. What will be happening over the next 3 to 5 years will generate multitudes of millionaires. And the real question is, what part of that do you want to have? Let's see if I got a question here. John, thank you very much for those kind words. And I'm looking forward to meeting you as well. Anybody else here got something for me? Let's see here. All right, folks, going once, going twice. Last opportunity for any questions, or I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. Got one more. Okay, got a couple more. Let's see. Thanks, Fred. So your YouTube is okay. Go to youtube.com/Fred Holmes Zija. FredHolmes Zija. All one word, Fred Holmes Zija. And you're going to have to go through the archives because several of those little videos were done here several months ago. And YouTube, the best of my knowledge, I haven't been able to figure out how to organize that. I just put the videos up there. Go look for them. 90-day game plan, daily method of operation, how to create a list, how to tell your story, and your upline. I'm not sure who your sponsor is, but they'll be able to help you, weed through that. All right, very good. Oh, geez, I'm looking through here. We had a very good turnout today, folks. Good to see all of you. 2 more questions. Dee Dee, thanks, Fred. Yes, you should be Dee Dee Shaw. You should be excited because you have no idea what you think was great hasn't even touched the tip of the iceberg yet. I'm excited for you, my dear, and all those kids. Anybody else? Okay, Mary. Very good. All right. I think we're done for now, and I managed to stay within my time frame of 1 hour. Folks, we're going to keep this process going. I am excited to meet each and every one of you at the convention. I would consider it a special favor if you would track me down at convention and introduce yourself. Give me a chance to meet you and shake your hand so I can put the name together with the face. With that, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for joining us. Upcoming events for this week. Monday night, David Moses Millionaires in Training. You want to hear from the people that have undergone the experience, the success, the training, that know this profession the best. So if you want to be a leader, you got to learn from leaders. Be on David Moses's Monday Night Millionaires in Training. Wednesday evening, 9:30 Eastern Time, go to www.clubmoringa.com. Pat Anderson will be doing her health talks with Pat. Powerful information. Every single one of the episodes she's done in the last couple of weeks has been gold. Thursday evening, I will also be hosting a special business presentation, ideal for people that are looking at the business or for your brand new distributors. And then if you're catching what we're doing here, if you want to be a leader, pay attention to what the leaders are doing, learn how to do what they do. All right, with that, got the announcements out of the way. Thanks for joining me. Excited about what's happening. Looking forward to seeing all of you at the upcoming ZJ convention. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.